On March 27, 1989, the Martian probe Phobos 2 became lost after taking a photograph showing an object considered by the Russian scientists, such as Marina Popovich, to be 20 to 25 kilometers in size. Previous to that incident, the Phobos 2 probe had taken pictures of Mars where the same immense shadow had appeared. After taking these images, especially the last one of them, the Phobos 2 probe mysteriously vanished. All contact with the probe simply stopped. Mission Control no longer received signals from the probe. It wasn't there anymore.
It was determined after further study the size of the shadow or object that caused the shadow that was captured in the Mars photo was more than 30 kilometers in height, a huge object 30,000 meters long.
In December 1991, we met with Marina Popovich, who showed us the strange object and gave us her own explanation of this extraordinary case.
And when he approached the Mars, I mean the spacecraft,
вот это последний снимок.
We have here the last picture.
Он уже пришел в марсианское небо, уже пришел.
So when he approached the Mars and was close to the Mars, and here we can see Phobos, a satellite.
И вдруг пришла вот такая фотография, и кроме этой фотографии еще была тень на Марсе, тень.
Okay, and on this picture, this one of the last pictures, we can see here strange object, and also one of the pictures shown a big shadow on the surface of the Mars.
И ровно через 3 дня после этой последней фотографии Фобуса не стало.
And right after 3 days,
он исчез.
As this picture were received, the signal's connection with Phobos second was lost.
Существует очень много гипотез, почему он исчез. Первое.
Ideas why this spacecraft disappeared.
Тоже была неправильная команда, может быть.
One of the ideas, it was maybe also there was a bad command or some kind of mistakes.
Может быть, возникло статическое электричество вокруг корабля.
Maybe it was in connection with the static electricity.
И все приборы вышли из строя. Может быть, какие-то механические повреждения.
Maybe mechanical kind of...
Но уфологи, вот и я лично, думаю, что может быть вот это корабль, может быть, это УФО.
But scientists that investigate UFO subjects claim that this trace and the other traces probably belongs to the spacecraft.
Maybe.
Other spacecraft belongs to the other civilization.
И тогда понятно, почему исчез Фобос.
So it can be a reason why it has disappeared.
Потому что длина вот этой вот сигары или помехи какой-то, она около 25 километров длиной.
Because the size, the length of this object, this cigar-shaped object, is around 20-25 kilometers.
Phobos is one of 2 moons of the planet Mars and is the only satellite in the solar system that doesn't seem to be synchronized with the planet. In fact, it is the only one that has a shorter day than the world it orbits. Phobos does a complete orbit of Mars in 7 hours and 32 minutes. So on a Martian day, it is able to come out and disappear twice in one day. It is also known that Phobos constantly accelerates and decreases its speed, which is a unique feature in the solar system. It is approximately 37 kilometers wide and has a retrograde orbit, meaning that it orbits in the opposite direction to that of most natural satellites in the solar system. To some, the shape of Phobos looks like a potato in space, and its orbit is very irregular, approaching and moving away from Mars. Here we see some truly amazing images captured by several NASA missions. These photographs led scientists such as the Soviet astrophysicist I.S. Klotsky to speculate that Phobos was artificially created and put into orbit. In a radio address in 1959, he commented that, based on recent observations, we must conclude that it is highly likely that Phobos and the second moon of Mars, Deimos, are artificial satellites placed in orbit by an unknown race that inhabited Mars 2 or 3 million years ago. Everyone knew that the Phobos Grunt mission was an ambitious and risky endeavor. If it had been able to complete its task, it would have marked the return of Russia to space exploration. It could have been a triumph for Russia, especially after a dozen unsuccessful missions to the Red Planet. To have brought back samples of Phobos to Earth would have been a remarkable scientific achievement. Among the planned experiments, the ship was transporting a capsule full of microorganisms prepared by the Planetary Society to investigate the effects of extended space travel on living organisms. Another of the mysteries of this Martian moon was the discovery of a monolith that measured over 90 meters in height. According to NASA and other scientists, there had to be a natural explanation for its presence there. It is said to be a very large monolithic rock. However, there are no similar examples in our world that would explain why a rock of this size stands erect in the middle of the desert of Phobos. This monolith is truly an unidentified mystery. The monolith was observed from the photographs taken in 1998 by the Mars Global Surveyor mission. In this photo, you can see the huge monolith that is 90 meters high in an area where there are no other protrusions or rocks of its type. Its existence on Phobos is incredible, to say the least. The images have led some to believe that it was constructed and erected by an extraterrestrial civilization. This monolith is another unexplained theory surrounding the Red Planet. It is even more mysterious that there is a similar monolith on Mars. This photograph, released in 2009, was taken by an orbital mission of the Red Planet and shows something similar to the monolith located on Mars' moon Phobos. NASA has maintained that this image was obtained by the HiRISE camera that was on board the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. HiRISE is an acronym for High Resolution Imaging Science Experiment Camera. The HiRISE camera took the pictures 165 miles above Mars by the Reconnaissance Orbiter and establishes that the rock formation has a monolithic shape similar to the one on Phobos. This high-resolution $40 million camera confirms the fact that the monolith has a rectangular shape and seems to resemble the black monolith that appears during key moments of man's evolution in the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey. Interest on the monolith circulated on social networks and begs to ask the question, is the presence of this monolith proof that there was once life on the Red Planet?
It is evident to us that neither of both monoliths were formed naturally. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on our moon, alluded to the monolith detected on Phobos in 2009.
We should go boldly where man has not gone before. Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. If you choose, God put it there.
It is bizarre that the monolith is in the middle of a totally flat and desert area of Mars, and that this rock has remained untouched by erosion for thousands of years. According to estimates, it could have a height of around 90 meters. NASA scientists claim that that size estimate is distorted and probably inaccurate. Another theory says that the Phobos monolith was not formed during extraneous impact, but could be a piece of solid lunar rock extending through the surface that is mostly covered with debris. That idea was discussed years ago by planetary scientists who were exploring the idea of carrying out a mission to Phobos. If the hypothesis is true, it would mean that the monolith could contain clues about the origins of Phobos itself. This leaves a third idea up in the air, that Mars suffered a devastating impact with a huge protoplanet, a planetary embryo billions of years ago, which created the two moons that we have named Phobos and Deimos. It is believed that a similar type of collision led to the creation of Earth's moon, but our moon is large, and Phobos and Deimos are quite small. Such an impact should have given Mars a much larger satellite. However, a couple of studies published in 2016 might have solved the mystery. Both concluded that the third idea is correct. And while one says that the moons are not trapped asteroids, the second establishes a detailed hypothesis that can explain how Mars ended up having two small moons. Apparently, a huge impact on Mars generated a large moon, and that great moon split and gave rise to the formation of Phobos and Deimos, and left many other satellite objects from the debris. And finally, the great moon and everything except the two small moons, Phobos and Deimos, survived. Other pieces disintegrated or crashed to the Martian surface.
However, some expeditions that had been proposed to analyze the composition of Phobos and its monolith could test the idea that it is not a natural moon, but really a hollow moon. However, time is of the essence. In 2015, NASA suggested that Phobos is disintegrating little by little. The furrows of its surface could be early signs of this process. Luckily, there is still a lot of time to visit Phobos before it dies. It will take 30 to 50 million years for it to completely disintegrate. On the next episode of Nuevo, we analyze other strange structures that had been photographed on Mars that suggest the possibility of an intelligent presence on the planet.